It is I, Jordan Reagan, the uncommon voice for the common man, coming to you today live from Shadyside, Ohio. And you may want to know where Shadyside, Ohio is in the not-too-distant future. Why, you may ask? Because if what I think is going to happen does happen, it might just be something that might interest you. Shadyside, Ohio is in what is known as the Ohio River Valley, which is right on the eastern side of the state of Ohio. Right across the river from us, of course, is the western border to the great state of West Virginia. If you want to look it up, look for Wheeling, West Virginia, and then look about 12 miles south of Wheeling, West Virginia, which is the biggest city in the Ohio River Valley, and you will find Shadyside. Now, what I think is going to happen is this. I am a recovering journalist. That's right, a former member of the Third Estate, your less than humble correspondent, used to be a newspaper reporter, and I have some journalism background. And I understand how stories work in this little valley. Now, this little story is actually a big story in our valley, but it might become a big story nationally if what I think is going to happen does happen. How it works is, a big story in our valley is nothing on the national scale. But let's just say Associated Press, Reuters, or some other news agency picks up on this, puts it out on their sites, or prints it, and somehow, some way, the big cable news networks get a hold of it. And then all of a sudden, what was a big story in a little valley is now a little story in a big nation. But this might even get bigger than that, because I'll tell you what this is all about. What happened up in Bridgeport, Ohio, which is directly right across the river from Wheeling, West Virginia. Apparently, a lesbian scout leader, a pack leader by the name of Jennifer Terrell, was let go by the Ohio River Valley Council of the Boy Scouts of America because she is an admitted lesbian. Her sexuality came out, and the Boy Scouts told her that she could no longer be a pack leader for the Cub Scouts. She apparently was a den leader for the Tiger Scouts, which means she's around kids of about, I would say 10 to 12 years old. And that's her name, Jennifer Terrell. Now, this is what Rob Drury, who's the Scout Executive for the Ohio River Valley Council, had to say about her being dismissed. Quote, "We do not grant membership to individuals who are open or avowed homosexuals. The mission of the Boy Scouts of America is to develop character and leadership skills in the youth of today to become the leaders of tomorrow. Anything that distracts from that mission distracts from what our program is." End quotation. Now, they had a big rally up at the Bridgeport Church of God yesterday on behalf of this woman. And I got some news for you people now. What Rob Drury says is exactly true. If she would have kept her mouth shut about her sexual orientation, she would be there now and no problems would occur. But she has decided that she's going to let everybody on the face of the planet know that she's a lesbian, and the Boy Scouts do not accept homosexuals as their scout leaders. That is just all there is to it. Now, you may say, well, that's a violation of her rights and this and that and all this other stuff. Well, I got news for you. Her rights end where my rights begin. And I don't want my children, who was a member of the Cub Scouts here in Shadyside, I don't want them around lesbians or homosexuals. That's just all there is to it. This is not the United States military, and we don't repeal, don't ask, don't tell in the Boy Scouts of America. And the Supreme Court sees it our way. That's right, because the Supreme Court came down with a decision that sided with the Boy Scouts and told them that they do not have to have gay or lesbian leaders. This is what Chief Justice William Rehnquist said back in 2000 when the Supreme Court sided with the Boy Scouts. We are not, as we must not be, guided by whether our views of the Boy Scouts teaching with respect to homosexual conduct or right or wrong. That is what Judge Rehnquist said. He said that the forcing the Boy Scouts to accept gays would, quote, violate its constitutional rights of freedom of association and free speech under the First Amendment. That's what Judge Rehnquist said back in June 2000 when the Supreme Court sided with the Boy Scouts of America on not admitting gay or lesbian homosexuals as scout leaders. And I'm going to tell you another little story that you may not know about, because this comes down into politics, and as you well know, I am a political kind of guy. It was right after that, in 2000, that the Boy Scouts of America brought in the American flag at the Democrat National Convention, and they were roundly booed by the gay activists that make up the Democratic Party. That's right, booed. The Boy Scouts of America booed at the Democrat National Convention when they brought in the colors. It's absolutely apprehensible. And I remember that as sure as I'm sitting here, because I could not believe that the Democrats would do something like that to a worthy organization such as the Boy Scouts of America, all because the Supreme Court didn't see things their way. Now, with that being said, I don't really have anything against gay or lesbian people. I don't have any problem with them, but I really do not want my children around them because of the simple fact that somehow, some way, their sexual preferences may very well penetrate, did I say that? Penetrate the minds of my children, and I just won't put up with it. And we have the right to tell homosexuals that they should not be admitted as leaders. And that is just all there is to it, because I have my rights too. And as I said before, and I will say it to the day I die, your rights end where my rights begin, and I don't give a tinker's damn what any of you gay, lesbian, transsexual activists have got to say about it. Just because that's your preference doesn't make it mine. And on top of that, I don't think that you should force your views on our children. Now look at this Tyrell thing. If that woman would have kept her damn mouth shut, she'd probably still be there. Actually, when she was asked to do this, she had reservations about it. She should have had reservations about it and just not done it, because she should understand as a free-thinking individual that maybe her sexual orientation might kind of rub off on these, did I say that? Rub off on these kids. And that is where her rights end and my rights begin. And I'm sorry if that makes me a homophobe or whatever you want to call me, but that is just the long and the short of it. I do not want my children around gay and lesbian people in the Boy Scouts. Take it somewhere else. Start your own damn gay, lesbian scouts of your own. You're right. You have the right to do that. And then when you do it, you don't have to have heterosexuals in your organization. You have that right too. This is how I see it. As long as these organizations do not receive any public funding, they should be able to set any guidelines and standards that they want to. And that applies to homosexuals as well. If you want to have gay Boy Scouts and have your own charter that says that no heterosexuals can be allowed in, as long as you don't accept public funding, that's fine with me. I don't have any problem with it. It's like that thing down there with the Augusta National Country Club. If those people do not accept public funding from the federal government or state governments, then they have the right to set their criteria for anything that they want. As we all know, they don't admit women in there. And of course, Big Daddy Obama has gone out and said that they want women in the Augusta National Country Club. But it's not his right. As long as they don't receive federal funding, he doesn't have the right to tell them what they can and cannot do. It is just that simple. There are constitutional rights and freedoms that have to be protected for all people, for heterosexuals and homosexuals as well. Separate, but equal. Until next time, this is your favorite conservative, Ronald Reagan, saying this to you right now. You gay, lesbian people, wise up. Do us a favor. Remember, the Boy Scouts of America is not the military. Until next time, I say this now. Over and out.